My name's Juliet, and I'm an artist who paints mostly women and current events. And I thought it might be interesting to develop some videos that talk about my creative choices and explain why I paint what I paint and why I paint it the way that I do. So this will be the first of those videos in that series, and I'm going to start by discussing this painting here, which is one of my more recent pieces, and I'm going to begin by explaining why I decided to paint this. So I woke up one morning and was reading the New York Times, which I do pretty much every morning. I wake up, I read the news, I go to different websites, and on this particular morning, I was reading a story about a ballerina named Chloé Lopes Gomes, who was the first black ballerina with this German company. And the article was explaining that she felt racially discriminated against during her time with this ballet company up until her employment ended there, which happened right before the coronavirus. So as I read the details in the story, I was really taken aback. I was, kind of surprised, I must say, to see that something like this was happening in the art world, and especially in an art form as beautiful and sensitive as ballet. So it propelled me to want to read as much as I could about this young woman and about the story. So I Googled articles, I Googled her name. I then started looking on YouTube for videos of her dancing to see what she looked like and what she looked like dancing, also what she sounded like when she spoke, and how she spoke about this incident that I had just read about. And by the end of all of that research, I was sufficiently inspired that I must paint this woman because she's so, very young, like a young adult, really the only black woman in this ballet company, and really bravely standing up for what is right and for her rights and to change things. And that was a huge inspiration to me. So I knew I have to paint her and kind of the meaning behind what I read or how I interpreted it. So that's my first step, is to be inspired by something or someone. My next step after that is to begin sketching ideas for what the composition or layout of the painting will look like. And in this instance, I did a bunch of sketches, and I decided that I wanted to do a scene from the very well-known ballet Swan Lake. And the reason I decided this is because, well, number one, Swan Lake, the production of it was mentioned in the article that I read, the first article, and it explained that there were some incidents that happened during the production that made Chloé very uncomfortable. So I felt like it was very relevant to her personal story. The other reason I wanted to show a scene from Swan Lake is because everybody knows that ballet production, even if you're not an avid ballet watcher or fan, everyone's pretty much aware of that particular ballet. So I felt like it would be a connector for people looking at the painting, that they might recognize that ballet. So I looked up some dance formations in Swan Lake online, and I found one that was really interesting to me, which was all of the ballerinas in a position of a V shape, with the point of the V in the front of the stage and the two sides of the V fanning diagonally backwards towards the back of the stage. And I felt like this is the scene that I want to show, because it'll give me a chance to put Chloé front and center in the painting in a power position and a prominent position. And I just felt like this is exactly the right scene to paint. So I was inspired, I did my sketch, I determined how I wanted the layout of the painting, and then I decided I wanted it to be a very minimal and modern piece, so I didn't want any superfluous details in there. such as any lighting or any audience members or even any elements of the stage itself. I just wanted it to feel like a dark stage with dancers illuminated, which brings us to color choice. So color choice is, it's actually a very important element. Colors are maybe sometimes more important than people even realize. And the reason for that is because colors can symbolize meanings, they can evoke emotion, so they do a lot for us and what we feel when we look at them, and sometimes we don't even realize it. So I am very careful about the colors I select and which colors I put together when I'm creating a piece. In this instance, two of the choices came very easy to me, and that is I knew I wanted the background to be black because I wanted it to evoke a dark stage and a performance, and I knew that I wanted their costumes to be white because most of the ballet costumes in Swan Lake are white, so that was very easy. Again, I knew that I didn't want to bring a light source in or a spotlight coming through because I wanted this to be very modern and bare bones in details, not distracting in details and just distilled down to the dancers. Okay, so one of the big color choices that I then did choose is this hot neon pink that is on the toe shoes. And this was kind of an interesting choice, and I chose it for a very specific reason. Typically, ballet shoes are a pale baby pink, almost a neutral color. And I wanted to stand out from that and do something electrifying and neon-like. And that's why I chose this pink for their shoes. I wanted a neon color because I wanted to almost scream, hey, something is happening here. There's something different going on here, something that deviates from the norm. I also wanted to say that let's get unstuck from old rules and old kind of like barriers that used to be thought of as the right thing to do, and break out of the box, look beyond the box. And I felt like changing the color of the toe shoes in such a dramatic kind of like very electrifying way was a subliminal way of stating all of these things. And I put each dancer in these shoes in this color because I read in the article that all of the dancers were very much on board with Chloe's fight and message. They supported her and stood by her, so I was conveying that through them all wearing these shoes. But as you look up at their fingernails, you will see that only Chloe has the hot pink fingernails, while the rest of the dancers have that baby pale pink polish, and only Chloe has hot pink lipstick, while the other dancers are wearing pale pink lipstick. And the reason I made the choice to only have Chloe in the neon pink for the lipstick and the nails was to say, even though the dancers stood behind her and with her, this was her fight. She was the one that had to, be the most brave and really stand up and speak out. And she was the one enduring the pain from what was going on. And I did read in the article that the other dancers were actually very hesitant and afraid to be vocal about what they felt and believed and sticking up for her because they were in fear of their own careers and jobs. So that was a way of showing that this whole fight was Chloe's. Another thing that I did was, it might be hard to see, but I actually put electric blue highlights in Chloe's body. Here going down her legs and on her arm and in her face, and that blue was just further stating what the neon pink was stating, which is something different is happening here. Take notice, take note, think about things, stop, and don't see things as you normally see them. So The next thing I decided to do, um, well, that's really it color-wise. So you've got the black and the white of the background and the uniforms. You have the highlight in Chloe's body, and then you have this hot pink. And those were the big decisions that I made color-wise. The next thing is just my overall style when I paint, and that is to really kind of show elongated limbs, like elongated legs and arms and fingers and sometimes toes when you can see them, and necks and large eyes. And the reason I do all of this in my style of my paintings is because I'm very concerned with emotions, and I feel like it's just a visual way to emphasize emotion and feeling. So in the case of this painting, I was trying to emphasize a couple of things, but one, the athleticism and grace and beauty of just ballet itself. And it's almost as if when you look at ballerinas, they look like their bodies and limbs are extra long, and they can do wonderful things with their bodies. And so I was just conveying further that sense of grace and athleticism. The large eyes, usually in my paintings, is used to convey an emotion, and I feel like you can see somebody's emotion most in their eyes. So I tend to do large eyes because it gives me more space to convey whatever emotion I'm trying to get across. And in this case, I wanted to just show, especially in Chloe's eyes, focus and a little bit of sympathy for what she is going through, but focus and determination and bravery. And I wanted you just to see that in her eyes. The next thing I did in this particular piece was to lock all of the ballerina's arms kind of together at the wrists. And this was just another kind of emotional element of saying, hey, we all stand together. We all believe that this is wrong, and we are connected, all of these ballerinas. So that's why their arms are touching at the wrist. And then I just made, I would say, one more kind of distinct choice in this painting, and that was to put Chloe's hair down and all the other ballerinas' hair up. And the reason I made this choice is because, again, if you've seen any video or have gone to any ballet performances, you're probably aware that ballerinas usually almost always have their hair pulled up in very tight, severe buns on top of their heads. And you don't see a hair out of place. They're all very uniform in their look. They all kind of look the same. It's very controlled, and it's very expected from a ballerina. Well, when I looked up photographs of Chloe, I saw that she had this massive, beautiful head of spiral curls. And I felt like, you know what, it's important to show her hair down for two reasons. One, because these curls are so connected to her look and her beauty and just her individuality. And I felt like it came across as being more her by having her hair down, more recognizably as Chloe, or recognizable as Chloe. And then the second reason that I wanted her hair down was, again, to say something different is happening here. Rules need to be changed in the world of ballet. The status quo that has always been is not always the way things should remain. And I felt like, what could be a more symbolic way of saying that than hair and ballet, because we are so used to seeing that same hairstyle. So this was a way to stand out and show difference. So there you have it. Those are all the choices I made in this particular piece. I'm so curious to hear what you think about the choices I made, if you think they're working, if you think I could have done other things that would have been more successful, or if you think these are dead on. I'd also be curious to hear, if you're a painter or like to do creative things, how you make your choices and how you get inspired. And so please leave me comments below. I will also leave a link to the New York Times article because it is extremely interesting. It's a powerful article, and I just know that you will connect with Chloe's story in the same way that I did. So I'll leave that down below for you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and you'll really like other ones to come as well. Thanks so much for listening.